All right, everybody, it's about 6:45, and it's time for us to call this particular special called meeting to order. We have several items on the agenda that are time sensitive that we're going to talk about tonight. And then we will adjourn the special called meeting, and we'll open up our normal work session. First order of business is approval of the agenda for the special called meeting. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
All right, I have a motion to approve from Alvin. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second from Taylor. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right. All right, so we'll just move into the agenda itself, and I'll start with our city clerk for item number 1.
Thank you, Mayor. The city will be holding a general election on November 4th of 2025 to fill the following seats. City Council Post 4, where Alvin Hicks is incumbent. City Council Post 5, where Taylor Anderson is incumbent. And the mayor's seat, where Brandon Hembry is the incumbent. The municipal election will be held here at City Hall in this room from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. November 4th. Advanced or early voting will be held October the 14th through the 18th. That's Tuesday through Saturday because Monday is a state holiday, so we will not have early voting on Monday the 13th. So it'll be 14th through Saturday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. in the community room downstairs. And it will be the second week will be October 20th through 25th from 9 to 5. And the 27th through the 31st, no Saturday voting on the last week. A runoff election, if necessary, will be December 2nd. I'm requesting as the election superintendent that the council approve the qualifying dates for this election of August the 18th, Monday, August 18th through Wednesday, August 20th. It'll be held between the hours of 8:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. each day. The qualifying takes place in the city clerk's office, and the fee is, as was set in January of this year, as required by the election code, is $108 for city council and $162 for mayor, and it's due at the time of qualifying. The council posts serve everyone, all the citizens at large, but the candidate will need to declare which seat they are running for when they qualify. These legal notices that set the qualifying dates were ran in the Gwinnett Daily Post on July the 20th and again on July 23rd. All of this is on our city website on the election page. There's so many dates and times, you can view it there if you need to. So the request is that the council call for the election and set these qualifying dates. And we put it on the special called agenda tonight to allow 2 weeks, a 2-week time span before the qualifying starts.
All right, thank you, Jane. Any questions of Jane? All right, is there a motion? And I think the motion is just to call for the 2025 municipal general election. Is that right, Jane?
Yes, and set the qualifying dates.
Got it, and set the qualifying dates. All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to call for a general election on November 4th, 2025 to fill the following seats, Post 4, Post 5, and Mayor, as well as set the qualifying dates as Monday, August 18th through Wednesday, August 20th between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m.
All right, I have a motion from Taylor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Meg. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand.
It's unanimous.
Okay, next we'll move on to the amicus brief for Chang versus Milton. Frank.
Thank you, Mayor. You all should be familiar with this particular item in that a couple of months ago, there was a resolution before you to authorize the city to participate in the request that was made to the Georgia Supreme Court to grant certiorari and to actually hear the case. The Georgia Supreme Court granted certiorari and has requested briefing on 3 particular questions. And so this is a follow-up resolution authorizing the city to participate in the amicus brief or amicus brief to the Georgia Supreme Court on those 3 items or 3 questions that the Supreme Court has asked for briefing on. The amicus brief is actually due today, and so that is the urgency for this request, is that the brief is due today, and in order for the city to participate, this needed to be on your special called meeting for tonight. Just as a reminder, the history of this case deals with the right-of-way in the city of Milton and a planter that was about 6 feet off of the right-of-way that had been there for about 20 years, had never caused any issues. There was an unfortunate and freak accident that someone driving left the roadway, ended up hitting this planter and resulting in their death. And a jury verdict was issued against the city of Milton and its taxpayers for $35 million. And so this has gone up to the appellate courts. Cities and counties are particularly worried about this case because of the number of things that are in its right-of-ways: telephone poles, street signs, mailboxes, many things that could lead to significant liability issues. And ultimately, it's your taxpayers who pay it. So if Milton has to pay a $35 million verdict, then obviously they're going to have to assess a bunch of property taxes or some other taxes against their taxpayers to pay that $35 million verdict. So this is a request to participate in briefing to have the Supreme Court consider this and hopefully overturn the decision. Any questions?
Thank you, Frank. Any questions? All right. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Have a motion from Gary. Is there a second? Second from Josh. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay. Next, we'll move on to item number 3, and that is the city manager and I believe the planning director.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll set this up. Back in August of 2024, the council authorized the city to submit applications to Gwinnett County for community development block grant funds and home funds for the purpose of addressing the issue of affordable housing. And we have since been awarded those funds, and we wanted, it's on the agenda to accept those funds tonight. Gwinnett County has given us, I think, 1.5 million of CDBG and 1,045,000 for home funds, with additional 263,000 thereabouts of home funds, and then some additional funding in 2025. So I'm going to ask for Art to give you an overview of this. This was presented to council in a different fashion in another meeting back in February. So just wanted you to know that we are now at the final application and receipt phase, and I will now turn it over to Art.
Is Jonathan back there? There he goes. Thank you, Jonathan.
It came up, I was like, okay, thank you. Here. This one's gonna get. All right. Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for your patience. We got a couple different things happening here. So I'll run through the PowerPoint just kind of briefly, and then I'll come back with just some brief narrative, Mayor. So as Mr. Radford has mentioned, Council has looked at this potential project that we know as Roosevelt Commons for at least since I've been here, since February meeting about that, and I believe Council has had discussions about that before. So just to give a point of reference as to the location of the property, so here we can see the intersection of Level Creek Road and Roosevelt Circle with the two parcels highlighted in the lavender color. And here is the survey of the property. And I'll go over this in a bit more detail in just a moment, but as Mr. Radford was mentioning, the City of Sugar Hill has received notice that we have been approved as a subrecipient for federal grants that would be administered through the county. And again, I'll go through these in a bit more detail in a second. Again, the timeline for the grant awards, and Mr. Radford mentioned about this being a kickoff, if you will, last summer, and then I'll mention that in more detail. I want to go ahead and go to the renderings that we have. We've worked on this. Logan has led this project, and he's done a really, really good job with coordinating with the county, speaking with different potential partners, and coming up with the initial site plan that we have here and some of the images that we have in terms of what this project could potentially look like. So we really wanted to give council and the citizens a good visual as to what we're talking about. And if I may take a little liberty here, so Mr. Radford, forgive me, and Mayor, but I think what we're looking at having here is something that the entire city of Sugar Hill would really be proud to have as part of our community. I think sometimes there is a connotation about what affordable, attainable is. We're looking at something for our citizens who are able to have a home of their own, and we know that pricing is what it is. So again, we wanted to show you some of the initial renderings that we have here. And here's a close-up. What we have here is a kind of a cottage style layout where you have a lot of green space, you have a compact development, yet enough space where people can have their own enjoyment of their yards, and then some common areas as well. Not unlike you would see in any other development. And so, and again, I'll go in these more detail in just a moment. And I'm going to stop at this last site plan there. So again, the purpose is to review and approve actions for the Roosevelt Commons Attainable Housing Project along Roosevelt Circle here in Sugar Hill. The location is is within the central business district, and it's 2.2 acres, and it's close to shops and amenities, which is an important item to consider. This is something where folks would have an opportunity to be able to walk to restaurants and so on and everything. So if transportation is an issue to some degree, hopefully that is lessened because of the proximity of the property. The scope would include up to 28 units permitted, but we're anticipating about 25, and that's to be able to keep some green space and have a nice aesthetically pleasing development. We're targeting folks that are at 80% of AMI, adjusted median income, and that breaks down to $91,350 for a family of 4. And we're using the Department of Housing and Urban Development's numbers for the Atlanta metro area. The units themselves would be approximately 900 to 1,200 square feet with an amenity area, mail kiosk, shared parking, bioretention, access to the Sugar Hill Greenway. On the funding details, as Mr. Radford mentioned, we have been awarded from fiscal year 2017 through 2024, $1.5 million in community development block development grants. That is for horizontal construction, so that's your grading infrastructure, and $1,045,281 in home funds, which can be used for both horizontal and vertical construction. We were also recently notified of a 2025 fiscal year home grant, and the county is expected to take an action on that, I believe, tomorrow at their meeting, and that is for $263,850. Funding for fiscal year 2026 is to be determined, and total known funds are $2,809,131, and all the funds are to be obligated, expended by mid to end of 2026. Again, on the timeline, going back to July 19, 2024, the grant application was submitted. In August 12th, the City Council authorization was received. In June 17th of this year, the Gwinnett County Board gave formal grant approval, and we are now at the special call meeting for the City Council. So our implementation plan, the City Council, if approved, would authorize the mayor to sign the grant awards. We would reactivate the Sugar Hill Housing Authority, and we have been in contact, Jennifer has been in contact with some of those members that have served when the board was activated, and we have strong interest from 3 of those members to continue on or to be reappointed, and we would, if the council approves, and then there would be 2 new members potentially. So again, but we would be reactivating the Sugar Hill Housing Authority to be able to oversee the project. We would issue a request for proposals for architectural services and construction partners. And just as a reminder, the council would approve or review and approve the vertical construction for aesthetics as a design review. So council would have more opportunities as we go along to be able to review the project in terms of the aesthetic. Gwinnett County would manage the eligibility and ensure affordability. So that would be handled through Mr. Elder's office, Matthew Elder, sorry, at Gwinnett County, and we have been in constant contact with his office as well, and they've been great to work with. The Housing Authority is to own the land and lease via 99-year land lease for perpetual affordability. And the homeowners can own the structures. They'll pay taxes, fees, mortgages, and can gain equity on the sale, and any buyer must meet the income eligibility as well. An HOA would be created with the Housing Authority maintaining the common areas. So one of the questions is why? So this really, promotes affordability with low-cost homes and reduced transportation costs due to the walkable location, and it provides a high-quality construction for minimal maintenance. This also addresses housing shortage. We looked, this number is a couple of weeks old, but there were 9 listings here in Sugar Hill that were under $350,000, and one under $300,000, and that's out of 200 listings. So the point is that what we're trying to do is to have an opportunity to be able to address our housing needs that we certainly have in Sugar Hill, and of course, otherwise throughout the community, but focusing here on Sugar Hill. Of course, this would comport with fair housing compliance, and another key point is that Roosevelt Commons would foster a vibrant, resilient community, providing affordable, quality housing in a prime location supported by significant grant funding. Our request of council is to approve the resolution to accept the grant funds and authorize the mayor to sign the agreements and reactivate the housing authority to advance the project. The Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners had, the Housing Department had asked for by July 31st for us to have the signed agreements to them. We still had some internal items that we wanted to get clarified, but they have been gracious enough to give us some more time to work through some things. So that is part of the urgency, if you will, of having this agenda item on the call meeting agenda. And one other key point, there is a 25% match for the home grant total, and we are able to use as part of that match funds that were expended for the parcels that were purchased, and we would be submitting a reimbursement request to the county for that. So that would cover the match portion, and we would submit a reimbursement, and that breakdown would be just over $319,000 that we would request as a reimbursement. Council has already purchased these properties, and we would be able to submit as part of our match that amount. That right now I think concludes our presentation, Mayor. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll be assisted by Logan and Jennifer as well for anything too. And I thank you. We all thank you for your time and consideration.
I appreciate it. Paul, anything else that you need to add before I open it up for questions?
Just to reiterate the fact that that Gwinnett County is excited about this project and excited about the location, and they've gone to great effort to cobble together funding from 2017 forward through to 2024 in order to provide the funding that's before you tonight. And I think that is a significant commitment of funds that Gwinnett County gets, and we'll be good stewards of it should you approve it, and I think it'll provide a valuable product for our community.
All right, thank you, Paul. All right, any questions, comments from City Council? Yeah, Alvin.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Art, for the overview, and thank you for actually, I feel, bringing something that is a need that actually fits into the housing gap that we currently have. I guess first question is what, if any, impact does this have to the local residents today, as far as regular taxpayers, as far as us accepting these funds? Is there any impact to the residents?
I would think it'd be positive. Adding 24 additional homes that are affordable to our housing choice would be, without having to expend any city funds other than the land that we've already purchased. And we will still own it down the road because it'll all be land leased. The structures will be built, but the city will retain the ownership of the property.
Awesome, thanks.
Go ahead.
And then, I mean, I think just from as I mentioned, as far as the housing gap that we have, I think that this actually adds to allowing us to better serve our community in regards to having a place for our community workers, that being or our community leaders, those that actually serve our community. There's our marshals and our police officers and our teachers and our store clerks. So I appreciate you guys for actually working through this and providing this opportunity to these residents. So thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Meg?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple of questions. Ardegis, you had mentioned that we received notice of the eligibility for these funds on June 17th, and that the July 31st deadline has been extended to give us some more time. Did they tell you an exact date?
No, ma'am, not an exact date, but we are appreciative of the county extending that for us. We don't know the exact date. We aren't given an exact date. However, in order to be able to keep things processed or progressing in a good stead, it would be a really, really good thing for us to be able to notify the county as soon as possible so that they can notify any HUD partners, anyone else that they are working with as to the wishes of Sugar Hill. The sooner that we are able to notify them, the sooner that they can notify their other partners, and we also are able to then expend those funds some of those funds in a fairly quick manner. These are funds that if Sugar Hill chooses not to use that, another community can, and these are funds that, again, like Mr. Redford said, that have been put together over some fiscal years, and we have a wonderful opportunity to be able to do some good things here for our citizens. And so time is of the essence. While we don't have a specific date, we do need to, council, sorry, if we can post haste.
I realize that. I know that, especially with federal funds, there's always timing is of the essence. And I certainly understand that, which is why I was a little surprised when I read the deadline in the e-packet that we received funds on June 17th, and we were not notified of that announcement or that eligibility until July 31st. And I just think it would have been very beneficial for the council to have this information during July, since there are 31 days in July, and we could have had some discussion. When we talked about this in February, we were told that if we're granted the monies, then there would be more in-depth conversations at that time. So some beforehand knowledge would have been great. Also, in February, when this was presented, the city had asked the county for $5 million. They said, ask for what you need, ask for what you want. We might not get it, we might. Since we had asked for $5 million and that's not what we're getting, does the city planning department anticipate how much more money would have to be spent? And the second part of that question is, since the Sugar Hill Housing Authority has to maintain the land, does that mean that the residents will pay the HOA fees to cover the cost of the maintenance of the land, or is that coming out of the Housing Authority?
Let me answer your, I think, last question first. With the residents, yes, ma'am. So it would be an HOA community. So just like a lot of us live in HOA or condo buildings or what have you, you pay an assessment. So that would be the same. And going back to the question about the funds, so for and I hope this answers your question, the fiscal year 2026 allotment is not yet known, so we just don't know that amount yet. We honestly, I'm going to use we collectively with the county and everyone else, we really have to see what comes down the pike from HUD, from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And so I'm sure they will definitely ask for the moon and see if we, either way, we'll land amongst the stars, and we'll try to get what we can they will try to get what they can for the county, and then certainly for the city of Sugar Hill, and of course other municipalities that may be requesting funds as well. But we just won't know that fiscal year 2026 amount probably maybe until October. I think that's when the federal budget comes out. I may be wrong on that. October.
Should we not get enough funds from CDBG or home, then I'm not sure if we needed extra funds where that would come from, if it would come from SPLOST or taxpayers, or I'm just not sure where that would come from. And this is the first time that we've seen the numbers of what we're eligible for. So I was just a little concerned about where the rest of the money is coming from.
And as part of this, we will again issue a request for proposals for different services and see what those bids are looking like, what those numbers are looking like. And we are also looking to partner as well. We strongly believe that there are businesses, construction businesses and so on, that would like the opportunity to be able to help out in the community. And so we think that there would be a good bit of cost sharing, if you will, with that, slash maybe some folks that could potentially do in kind and other things too. So again, I'm going to use we collectively plan to be, very, very good stewards of taxpayer money, because this is taxpayer money. And so, but we want to be able to, again, be very, very good stewards of that and take all the processes needed with that. And we'll be continue to partner with Gwinnett County. In fact, we have built some really strong relationships with them. I'm sure that's been here for a while already has. And me as a newer person, they've been very, very communicative. And so I feel very confident that we will be able to, in partnership with the Housing Division of the Gwinnett County Plan Department, be able to look at the numbers that we have, and then we can adjust, as need be. If we need to, that's just an option. So we want to be able to have the flexibility to be able to still make things happen, but while still taking good care of taxpayer funds in doing so. And by doing that, providing an opportunity for housing here in Sugar Hill for, again, as Councilman Hicks mentioned, some of our citizens who are working here and spending money here and would be able to be here. Sometimes folks are having to drive to where you can, afford, and this could be an opportunity to bring have some folks here that are already here and fully make Sugar Hill home for them. And again, with the proximity, is just fabulous, because not all the time, but there are more oftentimes, for various reasons, when an affordable / attainable product is a bit more on the outskirts, and this is an in-town proposal, and this gives an opportunity for those citizens to be able to take advantage of the amenities that we have here, recreationally, with restaurants and so on, and to be able to support those items. So it really all circles back.
Appreciate it, Art.
I just have
Yep.
one more very.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand the concept, I understand the purpose, I understand the reason, I understand the site plan. Since we got this on June 17th, my other question is, one of the things council members had expressed back in February was that we needed to look at the whole picture. We needed to look at the role of the Housing Authority. We needed to look at this from a legal standpoint. Has our city attorney looked at any of these papers that were received June 17th?
Well, I'll have to let Frank answer some of that, but we have been communicating with Mr. Hartley in regards to things such as reactivating the housing authority, what do we need to do?
Let's let Frank go ahead and answer. Frank?
I have had some communications with the planning staff about the housing authority questions. As far as any paperwork between the city and Gwinnett County, I have not reviewed anything at this time.
All right, anybody else got any questions or comments? Paul, you look like you were maybe reaching for the microphone, something you wanted to add.
I had a point, well, maybe I'll just hold it.
Okay. Yes, Taylor and then Josh.
Regarding the housing authority, I assume their role would be in the sale of those houses once they're constructed, and that their housing authority, the need for the housing authority isn't immediate, that we can take some time to decide on who should be a part of that authority, and that while we need to probably get them up and running sooner rather than later, they're not needed for the actual construction, the site development and construction of the homes. Is that correct?
That's my understanding. It would be more later down the road with sales, property maintenance, common areas.
All right. Josh?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. I think one of the main things that we need to look here, and we continue to say affordable and bring up the housing authority and everything. This is not a traditional sense of Beaufort Housing Authority or Duluth Housing Authority or even what it used to be here. This is fee simple, and this kind of almost is the next evolution, next generation of attainable housing in the United States. The land grant program is something that I definitely advocated for, through Frank and through our city staff, of making sure that this was not going to be a long-term tax burden on our tax base, that this was going to be almost self-sufficient through a committee, through a housing authority that was already there, who already has older funding that is still there in that account. And this also gives a path towards home ownership. And I think that is one of the greatest things that we have in this nation and in this state, that we can have affordable housing or attainable housing, and that you can be a homeowner. And that comes with a lot of responsibility. And I think that is something that is great to have a lot of people want to pursue. But I just looked up the numbers for Georgia MLS. You had the numbers from somewhere. I don't know how recent those were. In 2024, 7 houses in Sugar Hill sold for under $300,000. And most of that is really the cost of the land and where that is. So allowing someone to just come in and purchase a structure, that's something that's great. And that burden is not on us like a traditional Beaufort housing. We are not having to maintain a lot of those, exterior infrastructure, roof replacements, things like that. We're simply maintaining the land through a assessment that these folks are paying. So almost self-sufficient. But thank you for taking this. Good questions from Councilmember Avery and bringing those points up. I wish we would have seen this a little bit sooner if we were known, just so everyone, caught off guard or anything like that. But thanks for bringing this up.
Thank you, Josh. Anybody else got any questions or comments? And I'll just clarify, and again, just to clarify some of the dates, it says notice received July 1st, and not a big difference from what you said, but there's a mention here of maybe a commission approval anticipated in August, and I'm assuming there's probably an additional action that the commission has to take, and that's probably the need for the time, but I'm just guessing. Any other questions or comments? All right, is there an action by City Council on this?
I'll make a motion, Mayor.
All right, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the acceptance of the CDBG and the home funds in the amount of $2,809,131.
All right, I have a motion to approve from Alvin. Is there a second? Second. I have a second from Josh. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right, all those opposed, like sign. All right, thank you. All right, so we are done with the special call meeting. And it is almost 7:25, so we can immediately go into the work session if that is okay with everybody. But we need a motion to adjourn our special call meeting.
Motion to adjourn the special called meeting, Mayor.
Have a motion from Taylor. Is there a second? Second from Alvin. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn, please raise your right hand. All right.